Hey everybody, today we're going to do a fast-paced tutorial on how to get the new Chanel Camelia Futura collection look. What does this really mean? So on social media, Chanel always does a look that goes along with their collection releases. There's usually a particular model that Chanel will pick, and you'll see all these, social media campaigns with that model and the look with the makeup that usually goes along with the ready to wear and the bags and everything else that was launching for that time period. So right now it's the spring summer collections of 2024, which we started to see go down the runway last year. So there is a particular look that the makeup artists have put together for this collection, and I am going to replicate it here for you. Now I am going to go through each step, but I am not going to do it in quote real time. So when I put the look on, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do and then we'll cut, because otherwise we'd be here for a very long time. But at least you'll have all the steps. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and DM me or put them in the comments below. I will also accompany this video with a couple of clips from the Chanel social media campaign that you see on Instagram and probably other places to show you what I'm talking about when I say the Camelia Futura look. So first of all, you want to take the fluid illuminator. This is the one in Halo. Where you decide to put it on your face is really going to be up to you, but generally the idea of this type of illuminator is to give illumination to your entire face. So that is what I'm going to do. The only place that I'm not going to put it is like right through here. Everywhere else, I'm going to put the illuminator. So basically what you want to start doing is putting it kind of like you would your highlighters, your general kind of where you want the sun to illuminate your skin. And then you can put it in any way that you feel comfortable doing. You can use your hands or a brush. I would say though, use a synthetic brush because this is a liquid product. And if you use certain types of brushes, it's not good for the brush. This is a very luminescent product. It's an illuminator, and because it has an iridescent look to it, you may decide to use less or more of it depending on what you feel comfortable with. You can see I have nothing else on my skin. I don't even have skincare on. This is the kind of look you'd get if you just left it by itself. If you're somebody who really doesn't like iridescence on your face, I would just use it here and here, because otherwise it's going to be too much for you. Then I'm going to take my tried and true favorite. This is the Chanel Le Beige's Touch. This is in B10. This goes on all over my face. In my opinion, if you're using this fluid illuminator as your base product and then you're using a skin-like or dewy foundation, there is no need for a highlighter in this look on your face. Again, personal preference, but if you look at what Chanel has done, they don't use a particular highlighter. They use the fluid illuminator as the highlighter. I always say that, you want to pay attention to the eyebrows that kind of frame your face. There are Chanel brow products. I actually don't have one right now. I am using the Refi Auburn. Auburn's a hard color to find, like a good Auburn. I like the ABH one and I like the Refi one. So I'm going to use that to make sure my eyebrows are exactly how I want them. Remember, your eyebrows are not identical. Neither is like one side of your face to the other. So one eyebrow is always going to look a little bit different than the other one. This is the one that always gives me trouble. It's always my left side, but it's as good as it's going to get today. All right. So let's get to the eye look first, because the eye look is the most complicated part of this entire look that they've done. So first they take the Stylo Contour. This is in Taupe Fume. Like I've said many times about this shade, it's a great shade, really easy to use. It goes with everything, and I think practically everyone can wear it. Put it on the upper and lower lash line of your eye. This is an incredibly soft pencil, so depending on how much or how little you use really depends on your pressure on it. Be very careful. If you don't want a lot of it, just be aware of the fact that you're gonna want to go in with very light pressure, because it's really super soft. Once it sets down, it does stick, but when you're first putting it on, it has a glide to it that's super, super soft and like just, kind of gets away from you. So if you want a lighter line around your eyes or you feel like you have small eyes, I would really go very carefully with it. I'm going to take a very small eyeshadow brush and blend it in a little bit so it's not as deep and it's a little smudged. Blending it up. Then I'm going to take a little bit bigger brush, like a little pencil brush. So you're going to smudge the top out a little more into the V. Make it soft. See how much, like how I've made it so much lighter by blending it out in the outer part of the eye. Now we're going to take the Pesh Poudre, which is the other one of the other stylos, and you're going to put the tiniest amount, a touch of it, in the middle of your eye, of your eyelid. So what I do is I draw it like that, and then I take a relatively fluffy brush and kind of like blend it out. Depending on how much or little you want of that shade, you can put less. The Chanel makeup artists used very little of it, but it goes a really long way. You can see it already like spread over the entire eye. Then you take the deepest shade in the Utopia palette, this brown shade here, and you're going to blend that in to the liner. Top of your lashes, into the corner there, and the bottom lashes. Don't worry about fallout and stuff. We can fix that later. Okay, then we take the pink satin shade and put that on the center of the lid. Now, the makeup artists use their fingers. You can use your fingers or you can use a brush, whatever you feel more comfortable with. If you have a hooded lid or you have more, what I'd say, real estate, make sure you bring it a little bit above where your crease is and then blend out the top so there's not a hard line. Then you take this like white, it's actually like a white pink shade. Put that on top of the lid. I find my finger works best for that type of shade, but again, you can use a brush if you feel better about using a brush. Then you're going to take this shade, which is basically a duochrome. It looks pink in the Utopia palette, but it actually has like a blue reflect to it. Take that shade, use that in the inner corner of the eye, and then along the lash line a little bit on the bottom. Take your favorite Chanel mascara and put on a coat. There is actually a reformulation of the volume mascara, which I definitely need to try. So let's use an old volume one. And remember, this is sort of a light, magical, you know, ethereal kind of look. So if you want this more like spiky, wispy kind of mascara look, you want to make sure you concentrate on the outer corners of your eyes, kind of bring it out on the edges and like less in the middle. You don't want like a full heavy mascara look. You want a fluttery look. And the way to get that is to concentrate on the outside of your lashes. All right. So then you're going to take the blush. Now, what the Chanel artists tell you to do is to pick either the pink or the orange, depending on how you feel. What they mean by that is this is more of the warm tone at the top and this is the cooler tone at the bottom. So the only way to do that with this particular palette is to use a smaller brush than I would normally use for blush. So I'm going to stay with the pink and I'm going to go down here and really use the lighter pink with the medium pink. And I'm going to pop that on my cheeks in a more concentrated way than I usually do, and then blend. So if you're interested in keeping the look like particularly pink or particularly warmer like the orange part, do exactly what I'm doing. Just take a brush that's a little bit more, this is a Wayne Goss, this is one of his new signature lines, a little bit smaller than your typical blush brush that I use anyway, and go ahead and stamp it on like that and then blend it out. You'll see I'm doing kind of a, I forgot what the word is for this type of draping kind of thing. And that's because I am not using any bronzer. This is not a look that has any bronzer in it. And because my skin is so pale, which is, you know, fine. There's some pale people out there. I want to bring a little bit of contour to my face because I don't have, you know, as much definition because of the fact that I'm not wearing any bronzer. So I'm going to do this kind of blush draping look that gives definition to my face without using a contour. Okay. Then the last step of this is the Rosa Flash. So I have talked on and on about this particular product and how when I first saw the promos, the peachy and the rosa, I was just kind of like, this doesn't look that great to me. But I will tell you, wearing it, it looks so much better on than it does in the tube. I take a little bit of the Pivone. The makeup artists have used different, I've seen different liners used. I like Pivone because it's that pinky shade that works for me. I would suggest not using a lot of it though. Just use it to outline the lip, depending on how you like it, like your lips to look. If you want them to look a little fuller, go a little outside of the lip. And then just sort of brush it on almost with the side of the pencil. Use very little pressure. See how it's just a very light lining of that lip liner? Because Pivone can be much deeper if you want it to be. I am choosing to go in very lightly. And then over with the Rosa. So there you have your Chanel Camelia Futura look. It is a beautiful look for spring and summer. I would wear it all year round, but I think there's a freshness to this look that is very unusual. I absolutely agree with the content creators that have said they've seen this color story before and they've seen these products before. I do agree with you. I've seen this color story before, which is why when I saw it in print, I was like, but I do believe that this particular collection, Chanel has done something slightly different with the formulation of the flash, the iridescence of it, and the eyeshadow. There's something unique about how it has been produced. I feel the iridescence of the lip product especially is very, very special. And that the Utopia palette, the duochrome, really makes a statement for Chanel because Chanel does not do a lot of duochromes. It's not really their métier, if you will. And I feel like it's a branching out, but still keeping that Chanel elegance that is, in my opinion, unique to this particular collection. And the Fluid Illuminator is like one of my favorites of all time. So again, here's the Chanel Camelia Futura look. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any comments you want to put down below, I would love to hear from you. And I hope to see you in a future video really soon.